if you don't know what genre your music fits into, how is a library going to be able to use your music? That's the big question, right? If you are just putting your music out into the public and trying to get fans and, building up sort of a public fan base, cool. Like, you don't need to have necessarily a genre. Sometimes it helps to get people to understand who you are, but you really can kind of go into your own lane and just see what happens and see if people respond to it well or not. Sync licensing, there is a creative part to it, but it really is more about like classifying things. Things have to be very easily classified. So if you don't know, like maybe a couple of artists that you kind of sound like, or maybe some sort of similar music that you could say, well, I'm basically like this with a little bit of that. Like, you got to be able to identify yourself very, very easily and very clearly. And when you send it to a library, there's no such thing as a classification genre that says unknown or, miscellaneous or potpourri. They don't have genres like that. They have rock, pop, hip hop, orchestral, minimal, tension, drama, dramedy, right? Comedy, that kind of stuff. They're going to have those styles clearly ticked off in their catalog. And the reason being is people need to find stuff, right? So unfortunately, it's going to be uncomfortable, but you really do have to whittle yourself down and figure out, what box do I fit in? And I know us creative people, we never want to feel like we belong into a box, and we want to feel like we're everything. We're not. That's the sort of tough love I'm giving you guys. We are not everything, and we are usually great at one particular style, one particular sound. And most of the time what we make sounds like something else, because we don't live in isolated bubbles where we've never heard any other music and we're just making just originally, inspired stuff. We've like invented music ourselves or something like that. We're all influenced by all of this music that we've heard and grew up throughout our lives. So we're all sort of being influenced by all this stuff. So we all sound like somebody else. I don't think I've ever heard I've heard a lot of producers say, I'm in my own genre. I don't think I sound like anybody. And I listen to it, I'm like, you sound like John Mayer with a little bit of edge to you. Like, yes, you do. I think a lot of us don't want to feel like we can be pigeonholed that easily or something. I think that might be what it is. We want to feel like we're more free. But it's just not, I don't know. To me, it's like a lot of producers are kind of floating out too far out there with this kind of stuff, I think. And it doesn't help anybody, actually, because if you want fans or libraries to find you, you want them to be able to label you. You actually want a big, nice label on you that says, hey, I am EDM, rock, or I am a hip hop rock hybrid, or I'm orchestral rock combo or something like that. You actually do want to have these labels on yourself so that you can be found, so that you can get placements, right? So you kind of have to maybe think differently. I think a lot of producers and artists are thinking about this in terms of a very egocentric way of who we are, what we want to be classified as. But again, with licensing, it's like you got to fight against that a little bit, put your business hat on a little bit, and move towards, how could they see me? How could I fit into a box? I actually have to, if I'm going to succeed at this, trust me, guys, like if I got into this business and said, hey, don't call me an EDM producer or a rock producer or a pop producer, call me, whatever, kaleidoscope genre guy. There's no way I'm making money in this industry. There's no way that this is going to be my full-time job. I am in boxes. I am in the libraries that I work with. My name is in very particular genres and boxed out accordingly. And that's great. I have no shame for that. I don't feel bad about that. I feel like that was a success. That feels like I got into a situation where people can actually find me and find music that's relevant for them and make it useful for themselves. So anyways, hopefully I wasn't too harsh on you, Leah, but that's basically where I'm going with that, is you really got to sort of find out where you really belong and listen to a bunch of music and go, hey, I'm kind of like this and this and this. Great. You can have a couple of different reference points, but you really need to sort of figure out, what is it? What is the style that you're going for? Electronic drums, that could be pop, because a lot of pop music that's coming out today does have a lot of electronic drums components. I don't know if you're doing a lot of orchestral on top or a lot of piano on top or what it is, but you do got to try to figure out exactly where that lands.